Welcome to the official NBA All-Star voting for 2025. Happy New Year, happy All-Stars. And of course, we will be taking every single pick as seriously as we can, picking 1 through 5, front court, back court. Now, I did notice when I was trying to make some picks, they only allow 2 guards and 3 front court players. I have no idea why they don't just allow you to get the top 5 vote getters, have 3, 4, 5 centers, have 3, 4, 5 point guards play against each other. Who cares? It's the All-Star game. But regardless, rules, terms, and conditions do apply. Now, the first pick is no doubt Nikola Jokic. I mean, obviously, best player in the NBA, statistical darling, best player on his team, won a championship, horses love him. There's nobody better than Nikola Jokic in today's game, even though he can't play defense. We'll talk about that later. And on the other side, I think the number 1 overall pick could be Giannis. I like to go by fantasy points, kind of who's contributing the most to their team. I gotta be honest, man. Karl Anthony Towns has been absolutely unreal this season with what he's been doing. So he's gonna be my number 1 overall pick there in the East, Nikola Jokic in the West. And then we start to say, all right, who's left? Who's coming after? And of course, Victor Wembanyama averaging 17 blocks a night. Certainly somebody you want to do. Anthony Davis, before he kind of fell off a little bit, was playing at an MVP level offensively and defensively. Alperen Şengün has been great. Zion Williamson exists. And me personally, nothing personnel, kid. I'm going to go Victor Wembanyama purely for the block effects. His defense is uncanny, unreal. He's been playing, sensational the last few games. And then in the East, we're going to go Giannis. And we'll just round us out really quickly. Paulo Banchero having a great season, but has been injured for a long time. Jason Tatum rounding out the quote-unquote front court. As for the Western Conference, LeBron James, 72 years old. Happy birthday to him. Anthony Davis, Kevin Durant. This is really a toss-up between Kevin Durant and Anthony Davis. Do you want the Slim Reaper averaging more points? Do you want Anthony Davis averaging more rebounds and playing better defense? And I'm going to have to go with Anthony Davis just having a great season. So kind of 3 centers, 3 power forwards, 3 whatever you want to call it, 3-point centers. There in the West, we got Karl Towns, Giannis, and Jason Tatum in the East. As for the guard positioning, I'm going to be honest with you, James Harden, the way he's been carrying this LA Clippers squad, unreal, sensational. I'd go Luka Doncic normally, but he's missed a lot of this season. I feel like if there's a limit on the number of games that you play to win the MVP, we got to do the same thing. We got to apply the same principles to the All-Star game. So probably Shea Schmildish-Mellish-Mander is going to take that next spot. I do Steph Curry if his team was better than 500. Pause. And looking at the East, LaMelo Ball, Cade Cunningham just having incredible years respectively, both of them. Cade is doing the triple-double thing. LaMelo Ball is doing the I'm the best player in the NBA thing. And it's just been a joy to watch. Now, this is what your bracket should look like today, this very moment as we speak. But if you know anything, here on the Airball Network Insider Sports channel, we do things a little bit differently. So let's get the real picks going because we don't need this trash. And when I think All-Star, I think impact. I think how much has this guy created by himself? How much has he added to the franchise? And there's none more important. There's none more impactful than Zion Williamson. When he is in the game, he cannot shoot the 3, but you know what? He can certainly score. And when he's out of the game, he's eating Mountain Dew Frito-Lays and enjoying his life. So he's going to be the number 1 pick there in the Western Conference. And here in the Eastern Conference, the exact same principle. I'm going with a man who, when he's on the court, is better than Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown. And you know what? Sometimes he's on the court, sometimes he's not. It doesn't really matter. What did the Celtics give up for Kristaps Porzingis? Because, I get it. It did win them a championship, but at the same time, does this man still play basketball? Not talking about back-to-back double headers. I'm talking about once a week. My God, somebody pay me $30 million to sit on my ass and rehab 6 days out of 7. And then the secondary player for the Western Conference is somebody who's completely blown up. And now you gotta blame the front office. This man plays his heart out on the offensive end. Defensively, not so much. In fact, does he even play defense? Most of the time he sits and stares as people blow right by him, and then he puts his hands up saying, "What are you doing?" But Julius Randle, welcome to the All-Star game. Sure, the Minnesota Timberwolves pale in what they should be. Sure, they traded away a potential MVP candidate for you so they could save a little bit of money while they're selling the team to Alex Rodriguez, who can't hit anything in the World Series. Sure, I forget the point I was making, but Julius Randle, welcome to the All-Star game. And here back in the East, when you talk about impact, there is only one player that comes to mind. When you talk about on-the-court effect, I can't find him. Where is he? Hold on. Patrick Williams, welcome to your one and only All-Star vote you've gotten in your whole career. This man disappears from games more than Waldo. This man doesn't actually play basketball, and yet he's earning $18 million a year for 5 years. Patrick Williams, Bulls legend, welcome to the All-Star game. And finally, rounding us out here in the Western Conference, I was wondering who I should pick here. Aaron Gordon, Yusuf Nurkic has made a lot of impact. Derrick Jones Jr., Kyle Filipowski, a lot of great guys here, but I gotta go with the strongest man in the NBA. No, not Sandro Mamukelashvili, say his name 5 times fast. I'm talking about Steven Adams, the enforcer. We need somebody who's gonna build a brick wall, set some fucking screens, and knock people's on their asses. And you know what? Same principle applies here in the East. We gotta replicate one side to the other. We gotta bring in not Tosin Evwoman. I'm talking about James Johnson. Bet you didn't know he still plays NBA. Bet you didn't know he's on the Indiana Pacers. Bet you didn't know he grew his hair out and has dreadlocks. The assistant coach himself, James Johnson. Welcome to the All-Star game. And here for the guards in the West, it's pretty obvious. We gotta get the best players. Can I go away? Go away. Thank you. We got to get the best players playing. That means Bronny James. That means Gabe Vincent. Mr. Cardio and Bronny James himself earning 0.6 points a night. I mean, that's all-star caliber numbers. If you don't want Bronny James and LeBron James to play in the same all-star game in the same season, then you're probably a terrorist, all right? So put in your votes for Bronny already. And for the East, I told you there's a theme to everything that we do here. We got to get the best players on the court. We got to get the most impressive highlights, and that means Garrett Temple. Bet you didn't know he plays basketball. Charles Barkley, who he play for, and of course we gotta have Dick in the All-Star game, because if you don't have Dick, what are we even doing here? We need Dick everywhere. Put on your Dick shirts, put on your Dick jerseys, and go out and spread the Dick joy. That's gonna do it for this year's All-Star selections. Let me know what your thoughts are, what you agreed with, what you disagreed with, and as always, I'll catch you in the next one.